Off farm today for the 100 days of building a homestead. What are we doing? Well, we're at the Dohertys in Ohio. We're filming a course for Abundance Plus, but we're also learning how to create and add to our 10-acre homestead we're building. It's an early morning start. He milks at 5:20. Arc 30 over here at the Sal's here. Well, the ambitious fella is already milking. I guess he's on Lombardi time, Dan, because we were here right at 5:20. Hey, Lombardi.
Can we come through this door?
Hey, Coach. We were here at 5:20 waiting in the car.
Up there at the top?
Yeah.
We're thinking over, catch him coming out. Sorry about that.
You must have, you must be Coach Lombardi. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When he said 5:20, what he really meant was 5:05.
Well, that's kind of theater talk as well. Theater talk is you're there on time, you're 5 minutes late already.
This is your day every day.
It sure is.
You love it or hate it?
I love it. It's good.
We went to that party last night and everybody's staying up late and talking.
That's right. And
But you gotta get up.
I usually try and dodge those parties.
Yeah, okay, all right. That's a rare occasion for you, okay? So you
we usually take 2 cars. And I leave earlier than everybody else.
What got into you last night?
Maybe it was you being there and everything else. The other thing is that the kids don't want me to leave early, or they don't want to leave early.
Yeah.
And we just didn't want to take 2 cars. And
Okay.
it was getting a little complicated.
Does Beth get up early too?
She gets up earlier than I do.
Oh, wow.
So she gets up now, she does the office, and then she starts writing.
What's she writing right now?
We've got a couple of books that we're thinking about. We've got regular columns for magazines, Plain Value, and then we usually write for hobby farms. And
Dan, you gonna be able to catch this before he's done milking?
oh, I've got another cow to milk. So
oh, you do?
We got plenty of time.
Yeah. Look at these box stanchions. And have you secured them to the wall? No, he hasn't even secured them to... Not this one.
That one's not secure.
Best practice would have been to secure it.
Yeah, well, that one we haven't been using because we thought, okay, we're gonna be able to put 2 cows in here, and then we thought, eek, I don't know, this is pretty tight. So Beth did come down with Raymond one time, and they did put 2 cows in, and it worked reasonably well. But
last time you didn't even feed hay while they were in the stanchion, but
yeah,
you must be doing that because it's winter.
We're being nice to them.
The stanchion's super cool. You could almost put wheels on it and have it a dolly and do it as a mobile.
Up the other one, yeah. Raymond builds those for us now.
Nice.
I can now turn over more projects to him. He loves working in the wood shop.
And Raymond is your 10th son?
No, he's the 8th son.
Did he ever ask you why you had 8 children?
Raymond?
Yeah. Well, I say that because Zig Ziglar was 9 out of 10. And Zig asked his mom one day, why did you have so many kids? And she said, well, where do you suppose I should have stopped?
I like that.
He said, it definitely wasn't after number 8.
I mean, you can reset up after.
Okay. Once she, yeah.
But she's going to back up, and she's going to go out that door, and then the other cow is going to come in.
Okay.
So.
Dan having to adjust his light. It's dark, and it's going to be dark for a while. We got a calf in here. He's just built a little...
That's the one who...
This must be a 6 foot by 5.5 foot.
Yeah, something like that.
Just on deep bedding in here, just spent hay it looks like. Do you feed the calf overnight or not?
Yeah, we throw a hay in and then clean water. It's warmer than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was supposed to be 39.
Yeah, and it's 42.
What are you reading there to know that?
I always write it there.
Where do you find out the temperature? Oh, it's right over there.
Right there.
Why do you write it down?
I don't know.
Act like you're official.
That's right.
Makes you feel.
That's right. Makes me feel like a real farmer. It's the other notes we write in there that we look down. So we write down when Delphi's in heat. We write down things like Justin and Dan here. Spilled milk. Rosa in heat. Okay, so coming out that way, Dan.
Do you ever have any visitors at 5 in the morning?
Not in the morning. We do.
Hey, can cows see in the dark?
Yes, they can, and she's coming in, so watch out. She's wanting to get in. You want to close that door?
Coming in, Dan. She don't care about you. Sean, do you ever use these hobbles?
Not really. We had one cow one time that we had to use those on. Good girl.
Sean was just talking about how the cow is not the ball and chain everybody thinks it is.
Yeah.
And you're saying that you come out here and milk twice a day, every day. So what do you mean by that?
I guess people just think, oh my gosh, I can't be tied to that. I love the schedule that it provides for the whole family, because you are, you know, it starts the day, it ends the day, gives me an excuse to get out of parties.
Yeah.
Because I say I got to get up early in the morning.
At first, was it hard on you?
Very, very first it was. The first cow that we got was a disaster in many ways. And she would kick over the bucket and all that stuff, and I just thought, Walmart's a lot easier than... But it wasn't very long, you know, a week or so of that. And we settled down and...
You guys are known for feeding the dairy to the pigs,
right?
Mostly skim milk, or do they get some of the milk?
It's often whey. It's what's left over from cheese. What's left over is buttermilk.
If somebody was to find a dairy that's willing to get rid of their milk to a homesteader, and they were going to just feed milk to pigs, how many pounds of milk does a pig need in a day?
Beth has all that in her brain.
Okay.
But it doesn't, it's amazing. I think she says like 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon is what
I was thinking that.
Pig needs from wean to full grown. That's the protein need. That would provide all the protein.
Just no matter what age the pig is, just give it a gallon of milk.
Yeah. Now you have to give other stuff. You know, everything else on the farm. But that's everything else on the farm is weeds, whatever's around. All the
cow manure,
organic matter.
weeds. What do you guys do with all this milk?
Oh, we do everything. Cheese, you know, everything for us. And we drink a lot of milk.
We're about to find that out today, aren't we? You're gonna do a class on the family cow. You're gonna milk, cream. Well,
right.
Cream's easy. I noticed you just let it sit in the jar and you just scoop the cream off the top. That's all you do to do cream. Butter, yogurt, and cheese even.
Yeah.
That's the whole shebang.
That's right. You don't waste any milk. It's liquid gold.
How cold does it get here in Ohio at 5 o'clock in the morning?
It can
in the dead of winter.
Cold. It can get below 0. But usually it's not for very long.
How do you keep your waters unfrozen?
We're gonna have the cows up at the sisters by then. You know, if they have snow, they don't have to have water, so that's a help. We have a heater up there. They have well water up at one of their buildings up there, and we'll use that. And then we have to make sure we empty the hoses because they'll freeze up, and then we put a heater in a tank.
A little protest there at the end.
Yeah. Didn't move her out fast enough.
He's taking them out. He's taking them back out to pasture.
Okay.
I tell people they're eating 90% of their food off their farm. Well, that's what we had in the last meal. You have a hard time believing it. You just got to see this. What you doing in there?
This is one of our storage rooms. This is our cool, dry storage
Oh,
room.
we're showing off.
I'm showing off.
Yay!
This is our tromponcino. So this is what we eat this, and then the pig.
You eat this?
Oh, it's great.
We eat them when they're young and green. If the skin's tender, you just slice it up and cook it. That's what we had last night.
Okay.
But then when they're big, we peel them.
Garlic.
What do you mean last night?
Well, at Mike and Gwen's, when there were those 2 salads and the bowl of squash, that squash Anna had made. She was going to make
This room also we can.
You guys are real big fans of that squash.
Got this.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of this out in the other, by the cheesecake too.
Why this? Does it store better than
It
like
stores
acorn squash, say?
super well. Like we've had those last into April.
Why not butternut squash? Why not?
It doesn't produce as
Spaghetti
much. We
squash,
want to feed the
okay.
pigs too.
Sean's showing us his business card.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so they laughed about them, and I said,
When you
okay,
gave it
so
to a designer, they laugh at you.
Well, I said to Thomas, I said, so Thomas, so do us a card. And he said, those really match you guys. So he said, no. Right before Thanksgiving, he had taken off an addition on his house. All of us went over there. We all went there, and we had 5 days, and we put up the addition. 3 floors. It was
You're the new Amish.
It was so fun to work with my boys that way, and I thought this is how I want to spend my older age, is working with my boys on doing something like that.
What is the plan as you get older? And it becomes harder to milk it.
Well, I
Early
mean,
in
one
the
of the
morning.
things is we probably will do less up at the convent and more here on farm, which is what we're already experimenting with. I mean, we brought some of the cows home and stuff like that, and that's working pretty well. I mean, we would like to partner with children.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
So
what happens on a healthy farm or in a healthy farm family is the kids take over. And although they won't take over, and I don't think kids should take over exactly what their parents do.
Right, you have to turn it over.
You're going to have to be
them.
flexible and let some changes
Absolutely,
happen.
that's right.
Oh, he's
That's right.
very flexible.
Raymond, what are you going to change?
I don't know.
He may not
Put
be
him in a
one.
tight
He may
spot.
not be the one of the
I
ones
put him in a
that
tight
stay.
spot.
That's
Huh?
right. That's right.
What'd you say?
Some of the work,
What would you change?
the quality of some of the work.
Oh.
Oh, right. The kids always do that. They're
That's
like,
a-
okay, mom
that's
and
a
dad.
stink.
Less quality or more?
Oh no, more quality.
They want more quality.
Oh my gosh.
They're not trying to cut corners.
Oh
No, it's like they look
This
at
is-
Yeah,
something
I drive my kids crazy because they're like, oh, we could just. They might be their age.
that they see.
I'm more thorough.
Oh, okay, that's interesting because I'm the opposite.
No, 'cause you're not.
And I would have thought
You're
time would have
thorough.
been.
You're just not tidy, right?
Yeah.
So we've been
Well-
setting up systems and
What-
figuring them out. Seat in
Wow.
the pants, made out of scrap lumber, because we don't know how. You start out. You say, I don't know how this is supposed to work. So you make something that'll do, and
Okay.
then it does for a while. And then your kids get older and they tear it down and they rebuild it.
And they
Like
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
They do it really.
I've seen this
well.
stanchion. He did a good job. Raymond
Yeah.
did a good
Yeah.
job.
Like that little
Hey,
barn
do you
down
hear
the
that?
So-
I would always get stuff through garage sales, Craigslist, stuff like that. I'm now at a point where so William just bought really high-end table saw and miter saw,
New.
brand new, and so
But he's a carpenter,
Raymond.
makes his living making stuff.
That's right. And Raymond said, Dad, we really need to go. So we bought exactly the same thing, brand new. Totally not my style. But these are going to last us for the rest of
Oh, yeah.
my life.
My dad was the most frugal man I ever knew. When he died, we were throwing away empty paint cans.
Yeah,
He just couldn't
right.
throw away even an empty paint can.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
And one day I said to him, because he would buy a new truck or a new tractor or a new mower. And I said, Dad, what are you doing? You're like the cheapest man I know. Why are you buying new tools? And he said, well, it's because I'm not cheap. I'm frugal.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
buy these new because in the long run, it's cheaper. In the end, and you get more work done.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
That's
That's
right.
what it is.
It
That's
saves
right.
you time.
His
That's right.
priority
That's
was
right.
the work.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
That's right. Now, with my last son, we're buying new stuff, and my older son say, "Where did that come
Yeah,
from? Why didn't this
buddy.
happen when I was a
buddy.
kid?"
Yeah.
And I know you must feel the same thing. We're not hoping our kids will be like us. We're hoping our kids will be standing on our shoulders doing something way better.
Oh, they certainly
And
are.
if you like you are in the process as a family lifestyle of figuring out how you live like farmers and you live from the land. Like we're in kindergarten and we want our kids at least to be in grammar school. Our grandkids hopefully will have learned from
Thank you, son.
from them who learn from us, and they'll be. I'd like to see this land exponentially more productive under my grandkids than under us. So it's going to be different, but it's going to be better. So our daughter-in-law asked me to do that last night.
Gideon, what do you think about those crazy squashes?
I don't know.
Gideon, you want to grow some tromboncinos?
No.
That's what those big squash are. What about you, Dan? You gonna go tromboncinos after this?
Heck yeah, they were good.
Oh, you had some?
Yeah, I had some last night. They were great.
That in that boy's hands.
What's this?
This is the mango wurzel.
Goodness. What's
That's
it related
pig feed.
to? It looks like
beet.
a...
It's like a beet.
Okay. How do you really have to really dig that one up?
No, only that
Oh.
much is in the dirt.
What?
The rest of it is all above dirt. You just rock it back and forth and pop it right out.
Is that a day's eating for a pig?
I would think it's close.
Mango wurzel.
Mango wurzel. And the big pigs, you just throw it in. For the little
Gives them
pigs,
something to
we'll
do.
cut it up a little bit, just so that they don't choke on it.
When they begin to do it. And you need to get really comfortable with milk and with all of it, because milk is a living food. It's not just a whole food in that you can live on it, which you can. The Mayo Clinic would put desperate cases on a milk diet. Literally, they would say, okay, you've got cancer, you've got consumption, back when those were, like unusual things. And they would send people away to live on a farm and just drink milk for 6 months to try and get better. So this is a whole food. There's also a living food. And what that means is, the Lord God Almighty, when he made mammals, he said, I'm gonna make them to hold their children and feed them from their own body. And I'm gonna make milk the perfect food. But it being the perfect food, we need to protect it from all the bacteria in the world that would want to jump in and have famine. A Petri dish, if you leave it open on your counter, is going to incubate a whole lot of nasties that you don't want in your food. We don't want that to happen to milk. So if you're the Lord God, you say, I will make lactobacilli, and they live in milk. They're natural to the milk. They in fact live in the teat of the cow, and they populate the milk as it's coming out of her udder. And they're good guys. They're the ones that you're trying to get, like Acidophilus bulgaricus. They're the ones that you're trying to get when you eat yogurt to correct a gut problem. They're already in your milk, not just Acidophilus bulgaricus, but dozens of little guys who live here, and their job is not only to protect it, but to fill your gut, your baby's gut, the baby cow's gut, any baby mammal's gut, with good guys. Those are your probiotics, and they're already here. What that means for milk, and for milk coming into your house, is that it's already inoculated with probiotics, and it's gonna go somewhere. It is in the process of a gradual transformation that your family likes to eat. And it's also, we do go through at least 2 gallons of drinking milk a day. But if you keep a dairy cow, or better yet, 2, you're gonna have gallons and gallons of milk. Some times of the year you'll have 12 gallons that come in a day maybe. You gotta know what to do with it. And the answer is, this is gonna power your farm, and you just need to know how to be friends with the lactobacilli in here and help them do the things they like to do so that you get yogurt, sour cream, butter, cheese, clabber like this. Let's see if this is clabber. This thicker milk is gonna get fed to the pigs and chickens. This is buttermilk that was made yesterday. This is my fancy cheese making equipment, right? You'll have to send away to a special store and buy yourself all this fancy equipment.
What did she pour? What did you just pour into there?
I poured the warm cream. So this was cream at 90 degrees
Okay.
and this milk at 90 degrees. And now I'm just making sure they're combined, right?
And it's 50% cream and 50%
No.
milk?
So what I took was whole milk.
It's half and half.
Yeah. So what I took was whole milk and skimmed off the cream that was there. Warmed them up separately, because when you try and heat whole milk that's already, where the cream's already risen, the fat does not mix very well back into the milk. Whereas if you heat them separately, for some reason it does. Usually I make some sort
What are you
of,
making right here?
so this is a Gouda, but say we're adding 3/4 of a cup to this 3 gallons of milk.
What'd you add right there? What is that?
So that's just buttermilk from yesterday's churning.
Okay.
You can see it's starting to thicken a little bit. It's not properly clabber because it'll pour, but it's starting to thicken. That's because it's full of mesophilic lactobacilli, that is milk cultures that like room temperature, more or less room temperature conditions. I'm stirring it just to make sure that when I add it to the milk, it'll spread out nicely. And in fact, when I add it to the milk, I'm going to lower the bowl into the milk a little bit and gradually stir. Do you want a picture of this? Because I don't know how you want to catch this, but I'm gonna be working down in here. So I'm gonna lower the bowl into the milk, let milk run into the bowl, right? And I'm just gonna whisk it. what I'm trying to do is make sure that the buttermilk is going to mix nicely with my milk, right? So there we go. That's all mixed. I'll get my big whisk and we'll just stir this a little bit. You can even see in here, I've
You're
got
a
a
whisk
friend in there.
boss with that thing.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna fit. There's something in there. Hold on. I don't want them to see foreign objects in my milk. Come on. There it is.
You feel powerful with that whisk?
Yeah, right. I love my big tools. See the pot on the stove, on the table? No, where is it? Where do you put my big pot?
It's on the couch. What is that for?
That's for making cheese in, so that's what I would usually make
Good
cheese
Lord.
in the summer. It's not usually full, it's usually about half full. Come on. Combined, very noisy. We're whisking in our buttermilk to make sure it's well combined. One thing that you don't do when you're making a cheese, I would say of any kind, is you typically don't stir in a big spiral motion. That's because once you start a spiral current moving in this milk, it's gonna keep moving for a long time. And if I want a nice solid curd, I don't want a spiral current in that milk to make cracks in my curd. Ain't the end of the world, doesn't matter a whole lot. But in the meantime, it is more helpful to do either back and forth or an up and down motion when you stir milk for cheese making. So I've got a pot, it's got warmed milk and cream recombined in the pot, 3 gallons of it. We've added about 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk to it. Not necessary, but a nice way to boost the probiotics in here, the lactobacilli that are gonna drop the pH and make the curd form. Now we're gonna add rennet to it so that the curd will form. So here are rennet tablets. This is, I'm not advertising for Walco Ren, but if it's actually calf stomach rennet, which I want, a word of warning for everybody out there. A lot of the things that you buy and you think that you know the source of, you maybe don't know the source of. Like, would it surprise you to learn that when you buy citric acid, it's probably not coming, in fact, it's almost certainly not coming from a citrus fruit. Each tablet is adequate for 1 gallon of milk. Since I know I have 3 in here, I'm just gonna take 3 of these tablets and drop them in my mortar, and then I wanna get them really reduced to a powder. So I'm gonna grind them up.
Hard to see that white on white.
Right. And it's hard to do. That help?
Yeah.
If I dumped it in here, it would be very difficult to mix quickly, so I'm not going to. What I'm gonna do is get a little bit of, again, human beings like numbers, but the milk doesn't care. So a little bit of, we'll say 1/4 to 1/2 cup of body temperature milk. That doesn't mean go measure it, make sure it's 96 degrees. It means put your finger under the tap as you turn the water on, and when it doesn't feel hot or cold, gather your 1/2 cup of water. So that's what I'm doing. It's neither warm nor cold to my finger, and I'm gonna use it to dissolve my rennet. First in here. Now why am I stirring this with my finger? Because that white powder is really hard to see. And so if I stirred it with a spoon or something, I might think it was really mixed and dump it in there before it's really mixed. But by using my finger, I can feel it on the bottom, and when all the powder's gone, then I know it's dissolved. Add a little more water so that it's a little bit more dilute when I add it. And then I'm gonna take my fancy ravioli lifter and I'm gonna add rennet to the milk. I'm stirring up and down, and that's gonna do 2 things for me. 1, it doesn't make a spiral current. And 2, it encourages the cream, which the minute you stop stirring your milk is gonna wanna rise to the top. It encourages it to go down. I want it to stay down for a little while, because remember my matrix of proteins that's gonna form, join hands, fold up origami style, and capture all my milk solids in here. I want that to happen while the cream is down in the milk. So here I am adding rennet. I'm just gonna pour it around and do my up and down stirring for a minute. And in fact, to make sure all the rennet went in, I just rinsed my mortar down in my milk a little. And you're done for a while. How long will this take to form a curd? Depends on the temperature of the room, depends on the milk, depends on how much cream's in there. But what we want is that it should stay about 90 degrees while it's getting there. Why? Because the rennet likes 90 degrees, and if it cools off too much, it's not gonna work very fast. I have, among all my other fancy and expensive tools, I have this giant bath towel, which I sewed together with drawstrings in the corners. And we're gonna...
This is what Raymond talked about. Maybe he would have a heating pad, wouldn't he?
That's right. That's
or a
right.
dehydrator.
That's right.
Where you can keep it at 90.
Right. And my kids are always looking for methods, ways to improve my methods. But these are good starting methods because anybody can do them. You're not going to spend a lot of money to get to this point. You may decide, as I have, that works for me. You know, I don't usually have a film crew, so it doesn't matter what it looks like. And so I can go on the rest of my life using this towel to keep my curds warm, or I can figure out something that's even better. But I don't know if I'll ever bother. So I am simply wrapping my big cheese pot in towels to keep it warm. And this will take somewhere between half an hour and an hour and a half probably. If it cools off too much, a little bit longer. And that's where we are, at a stopping place for Gouda.
She just did an amazing class on cheese. Makes it simple and easy. I'm sneaking away a bit to keep up with the edits.
All right, we are at the doctor's office. How you feeling? You excited? Here you go. He just went back for an x-ray. We're all checked in. It's actually moving really fast. Very much looking forward to finding out what he can do. So like, she's gonna say, get up and walk. I hope she does. Is it gonna be weird walking?
Yeah. My legs so weak.
Eventually you're gonna get to a point though where it's gonna be just so normal and
Yeah.
you're gonna be back to regular.
Can I lay on
I'll
it?
take it.
Yeah, let's lift your leg out. You've been sleeping okay in the breeze?
Yeah, the first week was hard, but it got easier.
Just let it stay real. That hurt? Okay. Hurt? Hurt?
Well, we're gonna start PT and then he'll be able to do 50% weight bearing, and then we come back here in a month and hopefully he's healed.
Now she's gonna do butter.
So this is the last stage of butter making before washing, and you can see that the butter has come in here. We stopped the churn and you can see that lovely golden butter. If it was spring, this would almost be yellow orange primrose color because there's more beta carotene in milk in the springtime. But here we go. There's our butter and it's come. Drain the buttermilk off of it and run some cold water in here to firm it up to make it easier to work. Where did you get that special tool you drain the buttermilk with? It's a broken ravioli turner. You can wash butter with a paddle. You can wash butter with your churn by putting it back together and turning it on. But in this house, we finally got to the point where we have no ick factor when it comes to handling butter with our bare hands, as long as our bare hands happen to be clean. So I am just washing this butter by working it in the cold water. You can see that the cold water has a fair amount of milk solid in there because it's white. So we're gonna drain it a couple of times and replace the cold water with more cold water until the water stays pretty clean. Again, that's because if you leave milk in your butter, the milk is not stable and it will become sour milk. But you're just trying to keep air off your butter and then stick it down the basement in the coolest corner.
Round 3.
Round 3.
Is that gonna be all the rounds?
Yeah, I don't think it'll get white enough that I care. Farming is all about living stuff, and there's not a whole lot of point in being a purist. Like, I could keep washing this butter until theoretically that water there was not cloudy at all, but I don't see the point.
Especially if you're gonna freeze the butter.
Right, you're gonna freeze.
You don't even have to be this thorough.
This is my paddle. So Jake Christofello of Fallen Aspen Farms made this for me years ago, and he makes them and sells them at events like HOA. And this is the best butter paddle I've ever had. Better than the old-fashioned ones that you sometimes see that are rather wider, because this is really sturdy. I like a high-sided wooden bowl for my butter bowl because I'm working against the side of the bowl as opposed to against the bottom of the bowl. Sean bought me this secondhand at a flea market. I'm working the butter with the back of the spoon. I'm not smearing it, I'm just pressing it in small increments to squeeze the little pockets of milky water out that are still there. And since, in fact, we're gonna use this for eating and not for storage, not for passive storage, it doesn't really matter if I get it all out, like Justin said. As with everything else we do on this farm, we measure carefully and we're very scientific. That's as careful as we ever get. So I put some butter on there and I'm gonna work the butter, put salt on there. I'm gonna work the butter a little bit more to get the salt mixed in. Give me a plate and I'll put these. So we just like our butter in balls. We're gonna take a little bit of it. That's, I know from experience, that's about a half a pound of butter right there. I'm gonna work it into a shape that's easy to set on a plate and not have it roll away when you go to cut it. So we started with half a gallon of cream. Half a gallon of cream is gonna give you, at least Jersey cream. It's gonna give you right about a pound of butter, a little bit more maybe.
Beautiful hauler. The name of the game. We have just a few more hours here. Let's walk around and just learn as much as we can by observation. I don't know what we'll learn. We're gonna learn something. This is the Darties, some of the most experienced, true homesteaders, frugal, living off the land that I know of. Already, I'm eyeing this woodshed. You see, we need to build a woodshed, but we don't need to cost thousands of dollars. If anybody can teach us how to build a woodshed, it's the Dohertys. And if anybody can teach us how to build a woodshed without any money, it's the Dohertys. Locust posts, 2 by 12 foot beams, notched in, bolted in. They would have lined these poles up with a line. They would have had, the poles at the end would have been sticking up more because it's much lower, or it's much lower down on this side than it is up there. But the shed roof is level. It's just simple 2 by 4s for the ribs, and then 1 by 2s for the slats. Oh my gosh, I can build this. The kids and I and Mom, we can build a shed off the land. The bays, well, they're just scrap in pieces or whatever. The bays, they're just scrap in pieces or whatever it looks like, and spaced broadly apart. Gideon, I want you to observe something here. What? Anything, I don't know. Pick up on anything that we could learn and take home with us. An idea. Well, there's some sawhorses. Sawhorses? I guess. Oh, I bet that's you put logs in that and you can cut them, I think. Internet, what are these things? I would ask the Dohertys, but they're in class, man. They're doing an epic, oh my gosh. We milked this morning, and now they're teaching how to make yogurt, how to make cheese, how to make sour cream, and what's the other one? And then butter. Oh my gosh. And that's bonus. I didn't even think we were getting, that's a surprise. I didn't even think that's what we were getting from them. That's just an extra one.
Snaps, you're going to be in trouble.
Let's go look at that. There's some sort of water catcher under the... I'm especially interested in their water collection, watering system for their animals, because we're going to be needing to do that for the raw land we're developing.
We have one of these.
Yeah, I guess we do sort of have one of those.
Like a bathtub. But it's a bathtub instead.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Out of the pond, yeah. We've got a culvert. It's already here. It's already flowing. And look, what kind of filter they have on that? They don't even have a filter. And that's sucking. It's working. This is a drinking safe barrel. It's full of stones. I wonder if that happened over time or they put some stones in to hold it down. Probably some. And they don't even have a filter over this. They could go so far to put a filter over it. They probably come clean it every once in a while. It's running down their creek.
I wish we could have something like
Why?
this.
What do you like about it?
It's a hay thing.
Is it?
Hay's up here.
Is that what's up here? Let me see. Stay back and I'll open this. Same thing here, Gideon, another catchment. This line's going down there and it's going off the edge And feeding your little duck pond down there. Pay attention, get in here, this is how you would have to do it. Going into a trough. He's got an exit pipe here. Goes through under the ground and back to the creek where it came from.
What's this for? Is that pole? A dot pole?
Probably
IBC tote. But where does that come from?
Ow.
Let's find it. Get over that fence when you can. We'll follow that hose line.
Get under.
Get under. This one's probably on.
Ah.
This is affirming. I was wondering, we've done this to our trees. I thought, is this like so expensive? Is there a better way? We tried pallets, they break down in the field. I'm afraid nails and stuff are gonna be lost in the pasture and cows eat them. But if this is frugal enough for the Dohertys, definitely frugal enough for me. Here it is, this is not cattle panel. It's something that you buy on a roll. So that might be the trick. But there's no getting around the T-posts. That hose is going into another IBC tote here. Now, what's feeding this? There's no hoses above it. I figured this was getting mountain water. See this hose feeding it. It's not right now. That must mean they're pumping it up here and then feeding the farm from this. My take on this 45-degree slope, it is October and they have divoted it in place like this. A little bit of that is okay. You can see more of it happening here. I'll be honest, it makes me a little nervous and I think Beth would agree with me. What, John? Get in.
Right there.
You wouldn't? What is it?
The hose goes
Oh,
right
you found
there.
the hose. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to track it down. We're trying to stay 30 degrees or less. And that's just what I've had experience grazing and haven't seen damage on. Permaculture will tell you less than 20% don't do it. Having to go to 30% because we need more pasture and it's just not feasible just to buy more land around us. Certainly for us, not feasible to move away. I think I can gain 10 more acres. I can double what we have on just 30-degree slopes. So I'm gonna start there. And certainly, this is proven to me, if we have to, if we need to, we could certainly go steeper. And I would then start on the south-facing slopes and only go to north-facing slopes if I have to. And she's doing this, guys, on a north-facing slope. No excuses for anyone out there. She's grazing weeds, she's grazing steep pasture side, and making the place better by doing it, not worse. There it is. They got a pump right there. Here, let's follow the hose. I think they hook this up to a hose off of that culvert collecting water.
Ooh.
What is it?
I don't know. There's a hose in it and this. How do we not get this to do the pond?
Well, we have water above us. We're collecting it in a big tank. Do 225-gallon tank for the livestock. That's very fortunate.
That's easy. Hole.
And if you guys were looking for property, that would be one thing I would suggest, is looking for property that is going to be above where your house site is going to be. Don't put your house in the valley. Put it somewhere 50 feet, 60 feet from the bottom of the valley, in that sweet spot away from the frost, and then see how much resources you can get above you. And if you can help it, some southwest facing slope. Dohertys show you that even if you have to settle for the north facing slope, even if you have to settle with the water below the hill, you can still do some. Maybe they're not full on gravity fed water. They're doing a mix. Gravity fed as much as they can, and then a pump on demand. You know, that doesn't have to always run. It's just when they need it, they pump it up there and they're good. Ooh, I like this railing on the house. Some sort of farm paneling and then a shelf for a ledge.
Oh, that's smokehouse.
Yeah, it smells smoky in here. Yeah, you hang your pig. Get your fire going in that stove. It's a smokehouse. Pretty sure this is an outdoor kitchen, which is also very clever.
Wait.
Food grinding, a sink, burners, a stainless steel table.
Yeah, and there's sinks up here and stuff.
Storage, coolers.
Look at that bowl.
A gigantic bowl. They're doing their storage class now
I think it might have
in the
just
root
been
cellar. Guys, we're leaving. You guys have been amazing, above and beyond.
Well, it's been such a delight to have you here
Yeah.
and show you our farm and show you what we do.
It's been fun to put you on YouTube, and it'll be my honor to put you in Abundance Plus. Can't wait to see you there.
Good, wonderful.
It's great
So,
having y'all.
and many
Gideon,
people
it's
will-
been fun having you here.
Yeah, they first time meeting you, buddy.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Dan, well, you guys, you're in good hands with Dan. We'll see you, buddy.
Take care, man. Good to
Yep.
see you again, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, twice this year. We're doing good. All right. It's more than usual.
Out in Hawaii.
Yeah, he wants an assignment in Hawaii next.
I like that.
So we'll work on it.
December,
We'll work on
January,
it. Yep.
Okay. We'll see you later, Justin. Give
Yeah.
Rebecca a hug from both of us.
Okay.
Take care.